Gentle. Gentle yoga. Okay, so welcome everybody. I was talking to my mom on my way here, which is nice because I see my mom often, but it's with my two kids, and we don't actually have a chance to talk because it's chaos. And we were catching up and we were actually talking about my cousin and my aunt, who's my mom's brother's wife, not that that matters. But in this really contentious relationship that they have, and just how it just feels painful, right? That they really, for my cousin, that she doesn't have this relationship with my mom, like my mom and I have. And not that our relationship is perfect in any way, but we're close and we know that we love each other. And we were kind of saying that, you know, like everybody has their stuff, right? Like we all have a mother, and it's always a complicated relationship, whether it's super positive or more difficult, and how like everyone has a story. And this was reminding me about, I also am a professional astrologer, and one of the things that I love so much about astrology is that really it's all right there in our chart. And that's because astrology deals with archetypes and these kind of like larger umbrellas. And while the nuances of the story play out differently for people, there are these overarching themes that show up. And I see it time and time again because I don't know most of my clients. And I actually like that better because then I don't have my own personal experience that gets in the way. And it's amazing to me how it's just so accurate and on point, and how these archetypes show up. We can work with archetypes in so many different ways. And does everybody know what I mean when I say archetype? It's like, you could think about it kind of like as a theme or a character that each person has in their life in some way, but it's not personal. It's like the hero in the story is an archetype. And in yoga, we oftentimes work with, whether you're aware of it or not, every time you get on your yoga mat, the practice of yoga works with our chakra system, energetics of our body. And within each chakra, there's an archetype that when we have an imbalance in our chakra system, it shows up with that archetype in some way. Or if there's an issue with the archetype, then we oftentimes have it show up somehow physically in the body. It's just very fascinating how complex we are as human beings. And so I thought that today we would do another chakra class. We did one a few weeks ago, but this one focused particularly on the root chakra, which is the first chakra. It's at the very base of the tip of the spine, kind of at the perineum. And this archetype is the mother. When it's imbalanced, we are able to mother ourselves, to be our own nurturer, to be grounded, rooted, and stable, like Mother Earth. And when this is out of balance, we have a different relationship where we can become a victim. So within each archetype of the chakras, there's a light and a shadow, just like with yin and yang. And this also plays out on our yoga mat all of the time as prana comes into this realm. It splits into this duality of yin and yang, of light and dark. And so we all have the ability to fall into both of those archetypes, right? Whether or not, or even female, males also have the mother archetype within them, just like we have a father archetype within us, masculine and feminine, that duality. And so we all also have the ability to, at times in our lives, play or identify or feel the victim when it's true and sometimes when it's not. So we're going to work with that a little bit today, and we're going to do a yoga practice specifically to open and clear the root chakra and get really grounded. And it'll work really well, even if none of this means anything to you, just because you all came in and laid down. It's very root chakra grounding. So it's going to go with that vibe. So let's take a nice, comfortable seat. Sit up nice and tall. And welcome your breath. So simply take a moment to feel your breath in your body. And on a bigger level, just to feel that you have a body and that you are energetically embodied, that your experience as a spiritual being is one that happens within this physical form. And simply take a moment to check in with how your physical body is feeling. Because we can go hours, days, weeks, months, or even years without really connecting to our body or listening to what it tells us sometimes. So you could simply notice if your body's feeling pretty good without any pain, or if there is some discomfort. And as you notice these things, see if you could do so without the attachment of the story, without judging whether that's good or bad. Almost as if you could witness and observe yourself as a third party. Oh, that's interesting. My hip is bothering me. You could notice if your body feels warm or cold. Maybe it's both. Noticing those areas that are hot and those areas that might be chilly. Notice if the body feels tired or well rested, hungry, or nourished. And then see if there's any physical adjustments that you can make to bring more ease into your body. Maybe that's sitting up on some support, some blankets, a bolster. You could move your flesh away from your sitting bones and see if you could become more grounded with your pelvis to the supports underneath you. As you inhale, lengthen up through your spine, take your shoulders up, back, and down. And then see if you could keep that length and that sensation of rising up in the upper half of your body, but let your legs and your hips get really rooted and grounded. Take a moment and notice your tongue in your mouth. Can you relax your tongue away from the upper palate of your mouth and let it get heavy and wide on the lower palate? And then widen the corners of your eyes. Let your eyeballs descend back into their sockets. Notice if the body is holding on to tension. Bring your awareness back to your breath and feel that as you inhale, breath draws into the body and the body expands. And as you exhale, that the breath pours back out and the body contracts. And then as you keep your awareness trained on the breath, you could ponder what these two archetypes mean for you or bring up for you. Is there a charge that comes up when we think about the mother archetype, whether that's based on our own experience with our mother, someone else's mother, our role as a mother, or our choice to not be a mother? And what comes up when we talk about the archetype of the victim? Is that something that we identify with or deny? Do we think of a specific person in our lives? When we deal with these overarching themes, we undoubtedly will have some relationship to them because they show up in our lives. So see if you could become loosely aware of how these archetypes are colored for you. And then please bring your hands together in front of your heart. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. This could be very personal. You choose any intention that you like. Or perhaps you could intend to reestablish or shift your relationship with these root chakra archetypes, whether it's embodying them more fully or letting go of a belief around them that no longer serves you. And then we'll begin our class and seal in our intentions with 3 cleansing breaths. Please take a deep breath in and let it go with a sigh. 2 more like that. Full breath in. Let it go. 1 final cleansing breath. And gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes and release your hands. And we're going to start laying on our backs. Please have your strap nearby. If you're at home and you don't have a strap, you could use a scarf or a belt. So take a moment, just let your body down onto the ground, see how this feels. And then hug your knees into your chest. You could keep this static, or you could bring movement in here, kind of rocking side to side. It feels good to massage your body a little, using gravity and the earth beneath you. And then go ahead and release your left foot down to the ground. Keep your knee bent, foot on the earth. Take your strap over the ball of your right foot. Extend your right leg up towards the sky, but keep your knee bent. So it could be even a pretty deep bend here. Grab the straps with each hand and engage your shoulder blades onto your back. So you're plugging the arm bones in. You feel that connection with the upper back to your mat. And then from here, press your foot up into the strap. Keep pulling the straps down with your hands. So this is a bioenergetic exercise to start to activate the root chakra. Press up through your heel, press up through the ball of your foot. Maybe your leg starts to shake a little bit. That's okay. Notice what comes up. See if you could lengthen your tailbone down towards your mat a little bit and feel that your pelvis, the back of your sacrum, is connected to the earth and that your legs are connected to your pelvis. And just do a few more breaths like this. It may be starting to feel a little intense. From here, slide your hands down the straps and straighten your leg up towards the sky. Maybe there's a little relief as you let go of all that pressing, all that energetic action. And then take both straps into your right hand. Take your left arm out to a T or to cactus. Keep that, and then gently open your leg out to the right. See if you could do this with some level of control, where you could still root down through the pelvis. Maybe this means that you don't open your leg quite as much. And notice the difference in the experience in your body, right? When we are more engaged with the movement of the body versus just kind of throwing our body into a shape. Inhale, bring your leg back up to center. Go ahead and release the strap. Bring your right foot back down to the earth. Pause here. Feel the difference between the right side of your body and the left side of your body. The right side feels more grounded, more earthy. Then take your feet about as wide as your mat and knock your knees together in constructive rest. Just letting those muscles, especially your psoas, release and rest. So some signs that our root chakra may be out of balance, which could be underactive or overactive, could be feeling excessively tired or sluggish, like our body is heavy, right? That's too much earth energy. And then some signs that it could be underactive would be anxiety, feeling kind of disconnected from our bodies, spacey, scattered. Both of these extremes also can bring with it the feeling of fear versus safety. So it's like anytime our power goes out, say the power goes out for longer than a few hours, our root chakra immediately goes into overdrive, right? Because our sense of safety becomes threatened, and all of a sudden we have to think about, how am I going to flush the toilet? These basic things. How am I going to stay warm? What about my food? All of these survival instincts that sometimes we don't consider in our modern lifestyles. These are all root chakra things. Go ahead and bring your feet back to center. Take the strap over the ball of your left foot, and same thing here. So strap in each hand, engage the shoulder blades onto the back, bend your knee, press your foot into the strap, and breathe. Notice if the side is a different experience. Feel your breath in your body. And then see if you can weight down through the parts of the body that are touching your mat. So the tailbone can move down towards the earth. Sacrum presses into your mat. Even your right foot can connect to your mat as you press up through the ball of the left foot. So within each archetype, there is a balance, just like within each chakra, where we can be in a healthy balance with a mother archetype, where we're able to give freely to others, to nurture the people in our lives, to grow and nourish, or we can give too much, where we're neglecting and not taking care of ourselves, or just putting ourselves first. And the same thing is true for the victim, where it's very healthy to know when we are being a victim, when someone's taking advantage of us, and where we need to put in boundaries, right? But we can also fall into thinking that everyone is victimizing us and not taking responsibility for ourselves. Go ahead and straighten out your leg. Take the straps into your left hand, right arm out to the side, and then open your leg gently to the left. See if you could keep grounding through your pelvis. Notice what's happening with your tongue. There is a connection and a relationship to the tension in our tongue and the tension in our pelvic floor. So by relaxing the tongue, we can relax the tension in the pelvic floor. Inhale, bring your leg back to center, release the strap, release your foot down. This time, bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. Supta Baddha Konasana, one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Take a few breaths here. when we work with chakras, we can work with so many different elements. You could work with color and envision the color red. Or you could use the mantra, I am. Sat Nam. On your next inhale, bring your knees back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Go ahead and roll to your side. Make your way up to tabletop. Set yourself up here for cat-cow with your wrists right under your shoulders, your knees right under your hips. So give yourself a little more space than maybe you're used to. And notice the parts of your hands that are touching or not touching the ground. There's a tendency for the base knuckle of the index finger to pop up. This part right here. And for us to not spread our fingers wide enough. So you'll spread your fingers evenly wide. Root down through the base knuckle of your index finger, the index finger bones, the thumb bones. And then once you have that, melt your heart, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, and with your own breath, move through a few rounds of cat-cow. As you inhale, arch your spine, and as you exhale, round. Notice how this feels in your body. The more time that we spend on our yoga mat, the more we get to notice our own patterns of balance and imbalance, where we are hypermobile, where we have limited mobility. So those areas that are hypermobile, like for most of us, it's the low back. We need to stabilize a little bit more. Draw the low belly in to engage the abdominal muscles. Maybe you don't arch 100%, maybe it's only 80%. And then the areas that have limited mobility, where can we kind of soften into that? Allow a little more opening. On your next inhale, come back to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes and press up and back into downward facing dog. You can pedal out through your legs here, bending one knee, sending the opposite heel towards the earth, and waking up the legs. Then come up high onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees pretty deeply, and then send your sitting bones up and back and kind of widen through the sitting bones, bringing your awareness to your root chakra and allowing that to rise up towards the sky. Keep lengthening your chest back towards your thighs. And then keeping the length in your spine and this tilt in your pelvis, press your thigh bones back to straighten out your legs. And notice if the experience then in your legs and the lower half of your body that are ruled by your root chakra, if there's any difference. Inhale, come forward to a high plank, high push-up, and then bring your knees down. As you do this, take care to not shift your hips back. You want to stay in that plank with your pelvis moving forward, your tailbone drawing down, and then pick up your feet. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, bend your elbows straight back, lower yourself all the way down to the ground. And as you do, notice what happens in the fronts of your hips, the tops of your thighs. There might be like a gap there between your body and the mat. So we're gonna fix that by taking the right knee up and then lengthening the thigh back towards the back end of your mat. Then bring your leg down and extend your right leg so the top of your foot comes down and presses into the ground. Then do the same thing on the other side. Do you feel the shortening in the front of the hip on the one side? Pick up your left knee, lengthen it back, bring it back down, and extend the leg long. Then from here, curl your shoulders up, back, and down. Heart lifts up, coming into cobra, little baby cobra. Exhale, release back down. We're going to do that 2 more times, 2 little cobras. As you inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, back down. And 1 more. So from here, tuck your toes, press up, back into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together. Bring your forehead to the mat and breathe. Walk your hands over to the right until you get a stretch through your left side body. Come back through center and then walk your hands over to the left until you get a stretch through your right side body. Inhale, come back to center, make your way into downward facing dog once more. On your next inhale, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Exhale as you fold in Uttanasana. So in Uttanasana here, you can keep your knees bent, maybe a lot. You could use blocks under your hands. The goal is to keep a neutral spine, a natural curve in the low back, rather than getting the legs fully straight. As you inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Your hands can glide up the sides of your shins. Exhale, fold. And do that 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale as you fold. And again. On your next inhale, press into your feet. Reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, we'll do another little bioenergetic exercise here. Take a look at your feet. See that they're parallel, either sitting bone or hip distance apart. Maybe a little wider here, might even be better. And then you're going to bend your knees. So you could put your hands on your thighs and try to get as comfortable as possible here. And then you're going to press your feet down. So I lift my toes a little to feel my feet move down into the earth. So press your feet down, and then it's like you're trying to pull your mat apart with your little feet. Bioenergetic, you feel it energetically, kind of. What was that? Like that thigh master? Or you can imagine you have one of those there. And just keep working that. Breathe, because it's amazing how quickly we could start to heat up here. And then press down into your feet, inhale, straighten your legs, reach your arms up. And then arms down and just shake it out for a minute. So does everybody feel their legs are really activated now, really grounded, rooted? Let's do a little balancing pose here. So you can bring all of your weight into your right foot. Feel your right foot really firmly on the earth. And if this is a little too squishy because there is a little carpet underneath, you could always come off of your mat. Activate your thigh by lifting your kneecap. So the kneecap can easily kind of turn inwards. You have four corners of your kneecap and you want them to point straight ahead. So the kneecap lifts, that's how you know your quad is engaging, you want that. And then you'll lift your left knee. Take your left hand to your left knee. Yeah, we can use a wall. And you'll find a focal point to help you balance that could be low if balance is challenging today. It could be higher if you want to challenge yourself a little more. But you want to find something unmoving. And then your right hand can come to your hip or it can come out to the side, whatever helps you, or to the wall. And then see if you could open your knee to the side. And here's where we have to let go of our inclination to want to be perfect, to want to do the pose the perfect way, and to know that it's okay to fall out of a yoga pose.
And then do one like that.
It's okay to not have great balance. That's not the goal. The goal is to work on balance, to practice balance. Then bring your knee back to center. See if you could switch hands on your knee. You might have to switch if you're off the wall. And then extend your left arm out to the left. And then maybe could you twist? Maybe it's just a tiny twist. And then go back to center and release and shake it out. So it's like, I used to do yoga maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And I was working full time in the studio and teaching a lot. And now I do yoga now, and that's it, because I'm just so busy with 2 little kids. And it's amazing how when you don't work at something, when nobody's at home standing on one foot, right? Like we have to work at balance, especially as we're in aging bodies and things start changing. So just know that it's just practice, right? Maybe a little fun about it. So bring all of your weight into your left foot now. And then take a moment to really get rooted and grounded here, to check out what's happening with your knee, what's happening with your shin. You know, knowing where things aren't, like our tendency to not be in good alignment. We all have that. Let it show up for you. Engage your quad. And then when you're ready, just play with picking up that knee. Maybe, you know, you keep your toe down on the ground here and you're working balance very low to the earth. That's fine. And then you could take your left hand to your hip or out to the side, and then try to open your knee. Notice what's happening in your jaw. Like this is where my jaw starts doing the pose. If I just grip my teeth, I'll be able to hold this better. So see where you need a little more relaxation. Then you'll bring your knee back to center and you can just play here. Maybe the ball of the foot comes down to do the twist. Or maybe you work on keeping that foot up as you twist to the right. And release, shake it out. Good work. Let's come back to the top of our mat. This is a good opportunity to hydrate if you're thirsty. And then at the top of your mat, whenever you're ready, take your time, bring your hands together at your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bow forward and fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway to a flat back. Exhale, take a big step back with your left leg. So coming into a high lunge here, and here you may want to have blocks. I like to use blocks. I'm a big fan of props. So you're in a high lunge with your right knee over your right ankle. Your feet should be more on railroad tracks, like two skis, rather than a balance beam. Then lift your hips a little higher than you think. Press your left thigh up to the sky. Then draw your right hip back. Your left hip moves forward. And then from there, you could sink your pelvis down a little. See if you could take your shoulder blades onto your back and then bring your gaze forward. Just a few breaths here. Really rooting down into your feet. Feel your feet on the earth. Feel your connection to gravity, right? We're kind of resisting that here. We're resisting the urge to let everything slump down, pressing the thigh up, engaging the hips, lifting the heart. And then from here, bring your back knee down. Please feel free to use a blanket under your knee if it's at all sensitive, because why suffer unnecessarily? And then we'll move into a runner's stretch. So you'll walk your hands or your blocks back, straighten out your front leg, lift your toes. It's important here to engage the top of your thigh, keep that kneecap lifting so that you can safely stretch your hamstrings and breathe. Walk your blocks forward, lift your back knee, step your back foot forward to meet your front and fold. Here, you can take your feet a little wider. Maybe knees stay a little bit soft. Grab onto opposite elbow tips and let your torso drag off. Sway side to side.
So rather than get into your resting position, see the feel the difference.
So when we work with the chakras, as we move up through the body, each chakra represents something else. And the root chakra is our physical self. It is our physical body, us here in this earthly plane. When we move into the second chakra, we move into the energy of being male or female, how gender shows up, the masculine, the feminine, the yin, the yang. The third chakra, our solar plexus, is our identity, who we are. The heart chakra is our ability to love, to connect to others. Our throat chakra is the chakra where we create, how we bring our voice out into the world. In our third eye chakra, we're in the light, and our crown chakra, we are the light. Go ahead and release your hands, toe heel your feet back to hip distance apart, and take a big step back with your right leg, coming back into your high lunge on the second side. So same thing here, lift your hips a little higher than you think, press your right thigh up to the sky, hug your hips in towards each other. From there, you could consciously root the pelvis down towards the earth. Lengthen through the spine, shoulder blades on the back of your heart, your sternum lengthens, breathe. Feel your feet on the ground. And allow this to be whatever it is. If it's really difficult, let it be difficult. Yoga's not easy. We put ourselves in these crazy shapes so that we can practice staying steady and calm and regulated and self-reflective, even when things are hard. Then you'll bring your back knee down. Walk your blocks or your hands back, coming into this runner stretch. Feel free to pad your knee if it's sensitive. So your left toes peel up and pull back, pressing out through your heel. Your left kneecap draws up so that you stretch out through your hamstring muscles. And it might be very intense if you're someone like me who's just always had tight hamstrings. Walk your blocks forward. Now this time, we're gonna move into wide-legged forward fold. So to do that, you'll bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. And then you're gonna walk your hands all the way over until you're in a wide-legged forward. Take your time getting there. So feet are parallel here. Widen your heels a little bit if you're not sure. And then turn your toes out. So your heels turn in, your toes turn out. Bend your knees, bring your hands up onto your thighs. Take your time. So we're gonna come into goddess pose here. You can just kind of sway side to side. So we're kind of getting into the second chakra here where it's really fluid, watery, right? We need that range of motion in our hips. My mom and I were just talking about, she finally, I think it has to schedule a hip replacement. So we want to keep that fluidity in the joints here as long as we can. And then you could stay like this with your hands on your thighs, or you could come up into goddess. Bring your elbows forward, your wrists slightly back, shoulder blades onto the back of the heart. Feel that this is a fierce pose. There's a ferocity to the goddess, right? To this feminine energy. See if you could sink down a little bit more just for another breath. Then press into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, release. Step your feet in, shake it out. And let's come down to sit. Another opportunity to drink water. And then here we're going to baby cradle the right foot, right leg. So you could hold your foot like this. This could be your baby cradle. You could nestle your knee into your elbow. And this could be your baby cradle. Just made me roll my eyes a little. I had to do that. So if you have to do that to get there, it won't be too much. And then you're gonna rock your leg like a baby. And what you want to focus on here is not what's happening in your leg, although you do want your ankle to not sickle. You want there to be stability here in structure. What you're focused on is what's happening in your hip. Really get this range of motion, yeah, in your hip. So it doesn't matter if, like, how close your foot is to your body and how open your hip is that way, as much as how much you can get this bone moving inside. Okay, and release, and we'll switch sides. So second side, you're gonna baby cradle, however that looks for you. And then move your knee back. So the more you move your knee back, the more the head of the femur moves in the pelvis. then we'll release. And then from here, take your feet wide, knees bent, feet on the ground. Bring your hands back with your fingers in towards your hips. And then you're just gonna windshield wiper your legs side to side. And you'll try to not move across the room while you do this. There's a tendency to travel. One yoga teacher I used to work with would do this in every class. And she said, if you did this for 10 minutes every day, you would never need a hip replacement. You know, barring other issues. Like my mom has really bad scoliosis, so this is inevitable. Then bring the soles of your feet together and knees wide. Bring your hands to your feet. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, hinge from your hips as you fold forward. And then you find your edge, that place where you're just out of your comfort zone, but you're not in a place of pain. You can still breathe. There's no numbness or tingling, but maybe you feel some sensation. You could decide to let your head hang here if that speaks to you.
What's the schedule like this week? What's your schedule? So get back to us. Oh,
Inhale to rise. Use your hands to the backs of your thighs to guide your feet up. And then from here, we're going to set up for a more restorative Shavasana. We'll do a guided meditation. So you can either take traditional Shavasana if you like, or you could do this pose is called Stonehenge. And it's a legs up the wall alternative. So you take your two blocks at their highest setting, and then you put a bolster, which I sometimes don't have, on top. Yeah, so you make your own little Stonehenge there. And then the tricky part is not knocking it over. So you scooch your butt in a little closer to it, and then bring your legs, your calves, and the backs of your knees. I think it makes a difference if the backs of your knees are kind of touching here. It's better if they're touching, gives you a little more support. And then you can come down onto your back. Have your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. I offer Reiki in Shavasana. I'm a Reiki master. Reiki is just a universal light energy that your body knows what to do with. But if you do not want to receive Reiki today, just raise your hand or your leg here, and it's no big deal. Otherwise, after the meditation, you'll feel my hands on your head. So take a moment here and become aware of the ground supporting your body. Inhaling deeply, exhaling slowly. Allow your breath to flow through you as your breath deepens and softens. Feel the weight of your body grow heavy. Feel any tightness releasing. Know that this is a time to relax. As you inhale, your chest rises with peaceful breath. Your forehead relaxes. Your brow smooths, releasing all tension. The knot between your eyes loosens. The area of your eyes softens. Your eyelids feel light. Your cheeks and jaw feel relaxed and restful. Your lips curve into a gentle smile. The tip of your tongue relaxes. The back of the tongue is heavy on the floor of your mouth. The area around your eyes and temples grow soft. All tensions in the back of your head fully release. The muscles in your throat and neck soften. Front of the throat, back of the throat. Back and shoulders fall comfortably into place. Tension you've been carrying for years begins to soften and flow like water moving downstream. Gentle trickling sensation extends down the length of your arms into your palms and fingers. All strain in your hands and fingers fades. There's warmth and comfort in the belly. Breathing in, it expands like a balloon. Breathing out, the air releases, the belly contracts. It expands on the in-breath, contracts on the out-breath. With each breath, you relax even more. Calming sensation relaxes your legs, the muscles in the upper legs, your knees, lower legs. The stress in your joints dissolves and the whole length and lower part of your body is heavy and loose. You fall deeper into relaxation as soft sensations travel all the way down from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Slowly, gently begin to deepen your breath. Draw awareness back to your body, to wiggle your fingers and your toes. When you're ready, hook your knees into your chest. In your own time, you can slowly roll to your right side, taking a moment or two to pause, to give yourself a hug, to honor yourself, your yoga practice, and these archetypes that exist within all of us. And begin to make your way back up to find a comfortable seat. Once you arrive, close your eyes. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Call back your intention that you set at the beginning of class, and feel free to modify or change it in any way here. And then in this last moment, give yourself permission to mother yourself in whatever way that you need. Be that for yourself. And then we'll end our class and seal in our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light, each one of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for your practice. Wonderful to be here with you.